Hello and welcome everybody. What is going on? This is me TV, and yes, I'm doing this video again. This time I'm actually hoping that it works, because some of you guys have been aware that when I uploaded the previous video, which was exactly the same thing, there was hardly any sound. So for some reason my microphone didn't really connect, and I didn't notice that until I actually uploaded it, until someone wrote in the comment section that there is no sound to the video. So I took it down basically straight away. So some of you guys might have seen that video, but I'm guessing most of you guys didn't, because it pretty much got taken down in like 10 minutes or so. But this is the player rating, and as well as just like my predictions that I had at the beginning of the season versus what actually happened. And yeah, we'll go through it, but I'm gonna make this quite short because the last video was 20 minutes, only to realize that it clearly wasn't uploaded. So for this one, I'll keep it kind of short, and I won't go into too much details about each player rating, because I think some of them are pretty obvious. If one of those isn't obvious, just tell me in the comment section down below, and I'll explain it to you. I'll write a whole paragraph just explaining it to you. So how would I rate the players? How would I, like last time in the Bundesliga Part 1, we rated each individual section. So we rated the goalkeeping department, we rated the defense department, we rated the midfield department, we rated the wingers department, the fullbacks department, central midfielders. We rated everything just as a section. But let's actually pick the players out individually. Now this is for everything. So this is not just the Bundesliga, but this is for everything. So Neuer, I gave him a 7.5 on here, but I'm going to give him a 7. I think overall in the Bundesliga and in the DFB Pokal, he gets a 7.5. But in the Champions League, his distribution could have cost us quite a lot of times, against Juventus especially. So it did cost against Juventus in the first match as well. So that's why I'm putting Neuer down to a 7, not a 7.5, a 7 overall. Next up, Starke, not available because he didn't play enough. Alright, he didn't really play enough, so NA as well. Benatti, I'm giving him a 7.5. I think that he did pretty well when he was fit, but obviously no, he's never fit, so what can you do? Rafinha, 6.5. Yeah, I think that might actually be a bit harsh, but I think just because he didn't play that much this season, that I'm giving him a 6.5. For me, Rafinha, really, he's a very underrated right back, and I think the reason for that is because he isn't a big name, and the fact that we've got Lam as a right back, who can play as a right back. So whatever happens, he's always going to be underrated. But I think that Rafinha, he's actually really good, and that's what I think personally. Next up, Boateng, a 9. I think for me, this has been his best season. The only thing is that he's been injured for that much time, but I think overall this season as a whole, when he's been playing, it was a 9. Next up, Bernat with a 5, and that is the lowest score of all the players. And it's a second season, I'm not gonna complain too much. It's a second season. I'm hoping that next season he can do much better. But this season he's been really struggling, and I can't remember like one really good performance from him, and that's why he gets a 5 from me. Next up, Tasky, who gets a 6. I know that he hasn't played that much either, but the few times that he has played, he actually stood out, except the one match where he totally failed. So I'm kind of balancing that out. The one match that he totally failed, like the 2 matches that he totally succeeded. So I'm giving him a 6. Which is basically like middle scale. I know normally 5 would be like the middle, but I'm basing it as a 6 as being the middle. So Tassi gets a 6. Next up, Javi, who gets a 7. I don't think he's been bad, but I don't think he's been great either. But he's been good, but that's just it. Like, he hasn't been special. You don't like when you saw Javi's name on the team sheet, you weren't like, oh my gosh, it's Javi, he's in the team. You weren't thinking that, and you weren't thinking, oh no, it's Javi. You were just thinking, okay, you know what, Javi, yeah. Which is a little bit of a shame, because we in midfield he can be so destructive, whereas in defense he hasn't really excelled that well. He's been just okay, he's just good. Yeah, you're just there. Okay, cool. Next up, Alabare, who I'm giving an 8, and the reason for that is the first half of the season I would give him probably a 9.5, and the second half of the season he'd probably get like a 6, yeah, maybe a 7. So that's why Alaba for me gets an 8 overall, because obviously this is not just 2016, it's not just 2015, this is both 2015/2016, it's the whole season. So Alaba for me gets an 8. Batstuber is a not available, because, well, I can't actually remember, has he even played the season? Like, I'm not 100% sure. I think he played like a match or so, and then he got injured again, but I'm not sure, so that's a shame. Lam gets a 9. Yeah, I think that he's been absolutely phenomenal this season. Yes, he had a little stutter at the beginning of the season, but I think that he's been virtually perfect for like the last 4 or 5 months. So Lam for me gets a 9, especially for his age. He's like 31. I think he's 31. 31 or 30. Yeah, 31 or 32. So, considering his age, he's been absolutely phenomenal. Next up, Thiago, who I'm giving a 7. First half of the season, so 2015, I would have given him probably like an 8.5. But he's been really off the beat lately for the majority of 2016, so that's why his rating drops a lot. Vidal, I'm giving him an 8.5, and the reason for that is quite simple. First out of the season, I'd probably give him like a 7, a 7.5, maybe, probably a 7. Whereas in the second half of the season, he probably gets like a 9, a 9.5. So his rank really rose a lot, which is why I'm giving him an 8.5. Next up, Ribery, who I'm giving a 7.5, and these are all ordered, by the way. You know, the official FC Bayern website has them. So if you're wondering why after Vidal it's Ribery and not someone like Alonso, it's just the way that website, just the way the official website ordered it. So, which basically has like goalkeeper, defender, midfield and attack, and midfield basically counts as wingers as well. So hey, Ribery, I'm giving him a 7.5. I think he's been the weakest of our wingers. He was actually really good when he came back. He still has a few magical moments here and there, but they're just too far in between the poor performances, and that's just the one thing that I'm hoping with a full preseason he's gonna be up there again. Next up, Robin, who I think gets an 8 in my opinion. Because when he's been here, he's been excellent. He's been really good, and it's just that he's been injured too many times. So for me, he gets an 8. Alonso 8.5, which is the same as Vidal. I mentioned that before. That I think both of them, the way I see it, Vidal's lows have been much lower than Alonso's lows, but Vidal's highs have been much higher than Alonso's highs. But Alonso, he's just been in the middle ground for most of this time, which is why I'm giving him an 8.5. Whereas Vidal, because of his highs and his lows, he gets an 8.5 overall. But I think Alonso's been our most consistent midfielder, which says a lot. Götze, I'm giving him a 7. He's had great performances when we played against difficult teams, and the two real stand-up performances that I can think of from Götze are the one against Wolfsburg, where we won 5-1, and the one against Dortmund, where we won 5-1. Now, he wasn't obviously the goal scorers. He scored one goal against Dortmund. But just his overall performance in those two games was phenomenal. But besides that, I can't really remember like a good performance, like a great performance. Besides maybe like the last match of the season, but that's a bit late. that's a really late, mate. So he gets a 7 from me. Rode, I'm giving him an NA. Yes, he had a great match against Darmstadt and whatnot, but this season he hasn't played. It's not like last season where he actually played. This season he didn't play whatsoever. Next up, Kimmich, who gets a 7.5 from me. He's a midfielder who played in defense and still is excellent. I don't think there's much more that needs to be said about that. Yeah, 7.5 from me. Lewandowski gets a 10, 30 goals in the Bundesliga. I don't know how many goals in the in the Champions League and the DFB Pokal, but I think overall he scored about 45 goals this season, and that's just for Bayern. Without thinking about his national team, so that's just phenomenal. That's just a season, and that's madness. Next up, Costa gets an 8. I think that the first half of the season I probably gets a 9, 9.5 maybe. Whereas the second half of the season I probably give him a 7, so kind of like an 8 in the middle. But yeah, for me, Costa, I just needs to be, I don't know, it's ever since a small injury that ever since the injury that he sustained, I think it was during the winter break. I'm not 100% sure when he received the injury, but ever since that one, he hasn't been 100% in my opinion. Now, next up, Müller, who gets a 10, similar to Lewandowski, just obviously he's a second striker / winger / I don't know what he's supposed to be. So, he, for me, just gets a 10. He scores the goals without being the main striker. That's just phenomenal as well. Next up, Coman, who gets an 8 as well. So, three of our 4 wingers, Robin, Costa and Coman get an 8. Ribery gets a 7.5. I think he's been our weakest winger out of all those 4. In my opinion, Coman, he's been excellent. He just needs to work a bit more on his decision making and his crossing as well. And once he does that, he's going to be perfect and he's going to be ready to go. So that's what I think of this of the individual player ratings. Now that's why I'm actually gonna end this video at this point, just because let's make this a player rating video, and I'm gonna make a second video just of what I predicted at the start of the season, what I predicted, like one of my very first videos, what would happen in the start of the season. This is what actually happened, and I'll make this into a separate video just because that way it's more spread out, and that way, and this video is already 10 minutes long, I don't want it to go on for like another 10-15 minutes only to realize that it's not actually working. But that's all I have for you you guys today, ladies and gentlemen. This was my player rating. If you guys disagree with any of my player ratings for this season, you guys can tell me in the comment section down below. I think most of the ones that I've said were pretty justified. If you don't think so, you can obviously tell me. If you do agree with me, that's awesome. But that's just what I think. Tell me in the comment section down below if you think differently. But as always, you can rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe. You can peace out, and you can have a nice day. Bye.